Today we have a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet moveset video guide on how to use Iron Valiant. I'll be using this Pokemon later today as well in a video to show off its skills. I mean, it's one of the best Pokemon in the metagame, honestly. And it's also one of the first true mixed attackers. Basically, it can be both physical and special and both at the same time that we've had in a long time. Reminds me of Infernape from Generation 4. If you guys do enjoy these moveset video guys or anything Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, please subscribe as I'm on my way to 400k and leave a like because it lets me know that you guys want these. I'll be doing some big ones with all the Paradox forms. I feel like that's a good way to do it. And then obviously we have a few other Pokemon I want to show off as well. So Iron Valiant. Amazing attack, amazing special attack, amazing speed. Its special defense, ironically, like, you know, this is the fusion of Gardevoir and Gallade from the future, but its special defense is bad stat, which is crazy because the other Mons have insane special defense. But Fairy and Fighting is amazing offensive coverage, and it's really good, especially in a metagame where with a booster energy, you're faster than Chien-Pao, and you resist the Sucker Punch times 4. So really nice because you can definitely threaten a lot of Pokemon in the metagame. So the first set we have, I have a lot of sets today, by the way, so buckle up. First set we have is Swords Dance Physical with a Booster Energy. Booster Energy will raise your speed times 1.5, basically giving you the speed of a Choice Scarf without being locked into a move. If you do end up using Booster Energy, by the way, with any other stat that isn't speed, it's 1.3 times boost, just to let you know, because the way Quark Drive works. When Electro Rain or Booster Energy are active, highest stat is 1.3 or 1.5 times if speed. So if you guys end up using this on terrain, it'd get the Quark Drive and get the speed boost as well. But Swords Dance, Close Combat, Spirit Break, and Knockoff. This is like your bread and butter. This is basically what Gallade used to run, but instead of Spirit Break, it had Zen Headbutt or Psycho Cut there. But Swords Dance, Close Combat, Spirit Break, and Knockoff gives you basically almost perfect coverage, if not perfect coverage versus the entire metagame. If you want super effective coverage, you could opt to put like Zen Headbutt over Spirit Break, just as an option to knock out like Clodsire, but that's about it. Or like Toxapex at +2, but that's about it. And though Clodsire does run unaware, you could still easily 2-KO them with Spirit Break. But your Terra type can either be Fairy or Fighting. Now, Fairy will boost your 75 base power Spirit Break because it's really weak. Like, it kind of sucks it doesn't have like Play Rough or anything, but then again, it'd probably be missing most of the time if you really wanted to go for it. But you can either go Fairy or you can go your Terra type Fighting to make your close combat even stronger. Ghost is also an option, and the reason why Ghost is decent on this is because it allows you to check Dragon Dance Extreme Speed Dragonite, which terrestrializes into a normal type, so you can obviously be immune to that and knock it out with close combat as well, or 2-KO through multi-scale, because you will live an Earthquake at +1, but you won't live 2 extreme speed. So this just lets you live like basically outspeeded because of your booster energy, even if they Dragon Dance up, and then you can 2-KO them or knock them out depending on if multi-scale is there or not. But yeah, Ghost is an option, Fairy is an option, and Fighter an option. They're all very good. I definitely think you want to either go one of the offensive ones just because it just boosts close combat that much more, and Fairy just to boost your weak Spirit Break. Knockoff is there for Golden Go, and just a good move in general. If you are using it with Booster Drive, Booster Energy, which is amazing, right? Because it gives you the immediate speed boost. You have to remember that that's a one-time use, right? So when you switch out, you don't get that anymore. But if you do have Electric Terrain, you can still get your Quark Drive activated. So you can pair it with like a Pincurcher or anything. This guy loves spikes. This guy's amazing with spikes, right? Really easy core to throw an Iron Valiant with is Glamora or Garchomp lead. One that sets up spikes and Stealth Rock. Golden Go, that way your opponent can't defog. And then Iron Valiant. That's it. We're either special or physical to just do a lot of damage and put a lot of work. It just appreciates the spike damage wearing down walls like the Dondozo, excuse me, and Clodsire, like making them weaker so Iron Valiant can break through. Next up, we have another Swords Dance variant, but this one's running Life Orb. And this one has Shadow Sneak, and Shadow Sneak is an interesting variant because it allows it, and then you could also still go Ghost on this one too if you don't want to go Fairy or Fighting. Again, I think Fairy, Fighting, Ghost are basically your givens on these. There's one other that I'll talk about in a few other sets, but Fairy, Fighting, or Ghost are usually your given Terra types, depending on what you feel works better with your team. But if you go Ghost, again, you're still a Dragonite check. Even better at +1 because they will go for E-Speed versus you. And also, Ghost will boost your stab on your Shadow Sneak. So it'll give you stab on Shadow Sneak, and that'll allow you to deal with Choice Scarf Golden Go, excuse me, and still getting used to calling it Golden Go instead of Goldengo. I don't know, which one do you guys call it? And also allow you to knock out Dragapult at +2. So it's a really strong option with the Life Orb. It's just an insane breaker. If you do not want to run Shadow Sneak and Terra Ghost, you can also easily run Zen Headbutt on this. And that will allow you to deal again with Clodsire, especially if you do Terra into that. Like even if they have Unaware, that doesn't matter. Like they're special defensive in this metagame, so because it lets them deal with Dragapult, lets them deal with Chi-Yu to an extent. A few other special threats as well in the meta, but that's just something that allow you to beat that, allow you to beat Pex in one hit. But like at +2 with Life Orb close combat, if you go Terra fighting, you're knocking out Corviknight. You know, so it's just a really, really, really strong breaker as well. So Zen Headbutt or Shadow Sneak. Terra Ghost can work, help you out versus the Golden Go. And then we have Choice Band. Choice Band is extremely strong, just initially. I have Ice Punch here. Ice Punch is mainly to deal with like super defensive Garchomp that will live a Spirit Break. But Ice Punch lets you deal with that because it's 4 times effective. It also lets you hit Dragapult in one. It's just a strong move in the metagame, hitting a Mungus as well for an easy 2-hit KO. If you do not like Ice Punch, you can easily go Zen Headbutt on this because it still hits a Mungus, it still hits Toxapex, it still hits Clodsire, and you still have Spirit Break for Garchomp. So Zen Headbutt over Ice Punch is a very easy option as well. But the idea behind Choice Band is just hit hard as hell initially. Don't let your opponent switch into you because Choice Band is like, even with resistances, they can't really predict. Like something like a Garganacl is going to get smoked by spamming these strong knockoffs, right? Like anything coming in. If I knock off the item on a Corviknight, no more Rocky Helmet, right? If I knock off the item on Mungus, no more Rocky Helmet or Heavy Duty Boots, so my spikes can do damage. If I knock off the item on a Dondozo or Clodsire, it makes them, even though they're annoying with Unaware, just not be able to take hits. So knockoff is also really good for Skeledirge too, to be able to knock that thing out. But you can go Zen, you can go Ice Punch. Trick is an option as well. I've seen Leaf Blade too, but I don't think Leaf Blade is necessary. It's just a super effective hit versus Dondozo, but I don't think it's necessary, but it is an option that you could run too. And now we have the special, one of the special variants, which is Calm Mind Booster Energy. Booster Energy boosting your speed. Calm Mind is really strong. In fact, I actually think the specs variants of this Pokemon are better than the physical variants, or at least the mixed variants are better than the physical variants, just because Moonblast is one of the best moves in the game. And I always say this whenever I come to Moonblast, but 95 special attack, right? It's insanely strong. 95 special attack, right? It's stronger than Flamethrower, Ice Beam, etc. 100% accuracy, cannot miss. 24 PP, insane amount of PP. On top of that, 30% chance to lower the target's special attack by 1. Like this move is beautiful. It is one of the best moves in the game, just because it's so spammable and it allows you to beat, like, it allows you to deal with special attackers before they can kill you. Like, for example, like a 40% Iron Valiant, or like a 30% or something like Chi-Yu can actually knock out Iron Valiant or like Dark Pulse or something if it's like specs and things like that. So you get a special attack drop that can't knock you out because you're 4 times resist type of thing. On special sets, I really do like Terra Fairy just because your Moonblast is really strong, especially after a Combine. But there are a few other things you could run. But what we do have here is you run Booster Energy for the Speed Boost, Combine, boost your special attack, special defense in 1, Moonblast, your spammable move with Fairy Stab, insanely strong. Focus Blast or Aura Sphere kind of depends on you. Do you want power versus accuracy? Do you want accuracy, but maybe you miss out on some common KOs? The Pokemon that are 4 times weak to this, like King Gambit and stuff, you're going to knock out anyway, obviously, but... and Chen Pao, you're going to knock them out anyway, and you'll still knock out a Chi-Yu easily at Combine or Sphere, easily. But do you want a stronger move versus Toxapex? Do you want a stronger move versus a Terastallized Annihilate, right? So that's just like the difference in that. Do you want strength versus and power versus accuracy? So that's the trade-off, right? It's 120 versus 80. So it makes a pretty big difference when it comes to this Pokemon. But they're both good moves in general. For the most part, you click the Moonblast. And then you have Thunderbolt, and Thunderbolt's a good way of dealing with like Pokemon like Dondozo, Toxapex, Corviknight at +1 type of thing. Terra Fairy just makes your Moonblast that much stronger. Thunderbolt also can do a lot of damage to Golden Go, right? You hit it with a Thunderbolt once, and then later you can knock it out with like 2 Moonblasts type of thing. So that's if you don't end up using the Booster Energy, or if, it doesn't even matter if you use the Booster Energy or not. But Combine just gives you the ability to sweep, and hitting Toxapex, hitting Dondozo, hitting Corviknight in 1 is really, really nice. Again, Fairy can work. On this one, you could actually go Electric if you want the extra boost. And also to be able to resist the Make It Rain from Golden Go, and also to a KO easily with Thunderbolt. Same thing with Pack, same thing with Corviknight, Dondozo, things like that. Then we have Choice Specs, probably one of my favorite sets in this Pokemon, man. It's insane. It's insanely strong. I think you almost always go Terra-type Fairy on Choice Specs just because, like I said, Moonblast is insanely powerful. It'll 2-kill basically everything in the metagame that doesn't resist, and some resistances even take like 40%, like Golden Go. So, timid max speed. Just that feature is really important, right? That speed tier is really... First off, you want to be able to at least speed tie with opposing Iron Valiant. You never want to lose to another Pokemon in situations like this when you're a Specs or a Banded Pokemon, when you have the ability to at least put up a 50-50 fight, right? So by that I mean speed tie. So, but it also makes you faster than like Mouse Hold, Iron Treads, exactly like that. So it lets you deal with them. Moonblast, your spam move. You have Focus Blast here. You could go Aura Sphere. On Choice Specs, though, you're already going for power. Just go for a little bit more power. Just use the Focus Blast, man. It's super strong, man. It's super, super strong. You're knocking out, like, I think you knock out Rotom with the Focus Blast from a Choice Spec set, as long as it's not special defensive. And especially because some of them like to Terra Steel. That way it allows them to deal with Dragonite, so the damage from Focus Blast is insane. And I run Thunderbolt as last move. Again, hitting Corviknight in super effective to a KO, hitting Toxapex, hitting Dondozo. Beautiful. And then your last or third move I have here is either Psyshock or Shadow Ball. So Shadow Ball allows you to knock out like Golden Go or do a ton of damage to Golden Go, knock it out after hazards. Psyshock will allow you to deal with Clodsire, which is almost an OHKO on it. After hazard, it actually is an OHKO because, again, they're special defensive. But it allows you to knock out Clodsire after some hazards or easy to a KO on it. Which otherwise resists your Moonblast, Focus Blast, and is immune to your Thunderbolt, right? It's not going to appreciate them, but if it's fully special defensive, it will take them. Actually, it appreciates it fine enough if it's full special defensive. But Psyshock allows you to deal with that, hitting Pex as well in one. And that's like main reason for Psyshock. And again, Shadow Ball is mainly there for Golden Go. That's about it when it comes to the Choice Specs set. Then we have Life Orb Mixed. I like Life Orb Mixed a lot. The idea is maybe you don't want to hit or risk Focus Blast, and maybe you don't want to use weaker Aura Sphere, so you use Close Combat. So you run Naive on this one because it already has bad special defense, max speed, max special attack, 4 attack just for the Close Combat. There's not a lot of targets that you need a Close Combat that aren't 4 times weak to it, right? Tyranitar knocks it out. Blissey knocks it out with Close Combat, right? Kingambit knocks it out with Close Combat. So there are not a lot of Pokemon that you actually need to target with Close Combat. So in that respect, you could just go... That's why people just go Close Combat over like the Aura Sphere, and you could go full special, and this is what I'm saying, or trying to say, but you can easily just go Close Combat, and then you go Moonblast, which is a spam move. On this one, you do not have to go Terra... You don't have to go Terra Fairy, because if you don't want to run Life Orb, you could also run Booster Energy on this too, and if you go Booster Energy, I would advise going for like Terra Ghost, just so you can Moonblast into Shadow Ball, knock out Golden Go. But yeah, Life Orb is the option there. Thunderbolt for Corv. I already mentioned all the Thunderbolt targets. And Shadow Ball versus Psyshock. Again, up to you, depending on which one you want to hit. If you want to be... This is a true wall breaker, right? This has very few switch-ins with these moves in the metagame. Its biggest thing is that there are a lot of offensive threats that are stronger than it, and a lot of priority can do decent damage, especially if you end up tearing outside of your Fairy type. Because Fairy is the big thing that's giving the resistances to a lot of priority, like Mach Punch. And I mean, Sucker Punch has a 4 times resistance too. But if you tear outside of Fairy, then you could potentially get smashed by a Sucker Punch or a Crunch or stuff. Like, there's a big difference being 4 times resistant versus being 2 times, especially versus Chien-Pao, which is lowering your defenses as it's attacking you. So mixed, strong, mixed attacker, be a wall breaker. Booster Energy is an option. Again, I put it right here. I literally put it right next to it, right? So Life Orb or Booster Energy. Booster Energy, again, I like, on this one in particular, I like Terra Ghost on Booster Energy because it allows you to, once again, check Dragonite if it's Dragon Dance. It also allows you to knock out Golden Go with Moonblast and Shadow Ball, which is pretty cool. Especially after like a spike or two. So it just allows you to deal with giant threats like that. And again, being immune to extreme speed, I think, is a really big one when it comes to this Pokemon. And then sorry, there's a lot of mons here I have, so I'm making sure I'm clicking on them. So now we have Choice Scarf. Choice Scarf is an interesting option. I don't like Choice Scarf as much just because I feel like it's a waste on Iron Valiant. I feel like if I'm more power, I use Choice Band. Choice Specs lets me get the special power. Booster Energy is fine too. But Choice Scarf is interesting because it allows you to kind of do what Golden Go does. Your Revenge Kill Pokemon. Again, on this one, you'd most likely go either Terra Fighting for the stronger close combat, essentially having a Choice Band almost. It was 2 times, right? Almost, like. But basically just having the stronger power, right? The 1.5 on close combat versus the 2 times on close combat. So making your close combat even stronger. Or you would Terra Ghost on this too, allowing you to, again, once again, check Dragonite for sure and knock it out. Close combat knockoff is spammable. I have Ice Punch there for Garchomp. This is cool too because you're faster with a Choice Scarf than Golden Go, and a lot of people won't expect Choice Scarf on this Pokemon. So not Golden Go, Cyclizar. So Cyclizar will still try and go for a Shed Cell, and if they're not Scarf, they'll be outsped and knocked out by Close Combat, right? If they don't see Boost Energy, a lot of people don't expect Choice Scarf. So Ice Punch can also allow you to deal with just Dragonite in general, and just a decent move. Versus Scarf Garchomp too, which is something that people run. And then Trick is there just to mess up your opponents. And Headbutt or Spirit Break are also options as well. I just give like the general guidelines. You guys can do whatever you want with these sets. But I do think that in terms of moves you want for sure, Close Combat, Knockoff, and Trick. So your third move can be absolutely anything you want. Terra Ghost, Terra Fighting in my opinion. And now we have Trick Choice Scarf Special, which is a little bit better. Granted, special attack is weaker than its physical attack, but its moves on the special side are stronger because you have Moonblast versus Spirit Break, and then Focus Blast is the same as Close Combat, which is only a little bit weaker than Close Combat just because of, again, the 10 attack difference. But Trick, again, just to cripple walls and get rid of that, and also stop like Annihilate from setting up and resting and doing its thing. Moonblast is nice, allowing you to revenge kill like a +1 Baxcalibur that has terrestrialized into Dragon, which is something that the physical variant can't do because, again, they do terrestrialize Dragon versus terrestrialize Ice usually, and it allows you to knock them out with the Moonblast. And then you have Focus Blast there, just strong power. You don't need to put Focus Blast on this. You can put Aura Sphere just for the revenge killing as well. And then again, Thunderbolt or Shadow Ball. If you're running Shadow Ball, Terra Ghost. If you're running Thunderbolt, you can run Terra Electric just for the added power versus Corviknight and stuff, or Terra Fighting for the added power and Focus Blast. Focus Blast misses. Terra Fairy is always good too because being a Fairy type with a strong spammable Fairy move, really, really strong. Like really, really good. So I like Terra Fairy or Terra Ghost on this one in particular. And then we have Agility. Agility is pretty cool because you have 394 attack, and then if you run it with a Booster Energy or Life Orb, you can run a Life Orb as well if you don't want a Booster Energy. They both give you the same boost, right? Life Orb would be the consistent boost, whereas Booster Energy would only work when you come out, and then it go away. However, this one you could easily run on like Electric Terrain to consistently get an attack raise, but again, Booster Energy gives you a 1.3 times attack raise, and Life Orb boosts your attacks by 1.3. It's the same thing, basically, but in terms of damage output. So Agility doubles your speed +2. You go Adamant again for that added power for Booster Energy or Life Orb. And you have the Close Combat and Knockoff are your givens. Knockoff allows you to knock out and deal with like Golden Go and Dragapult. Close Combat, obviously super spammable. And then on this last one, you can either go Spirit Break or Zen Headbutt. If you do go Zen Headbutt because you want to hit Pex and stuff, I would even suggest using Terra Psychic, and Terra Psychic will allow your Zen Headbutts to deal with Pex and deal with Clodsire that much easier. And also gives you a strong hit versus like Annihilate, but it's in a ghost form. Spirit Break is obviously good too, but you're walled by those particular Pokemon like poison types and things like that. So otherwise, Terra Fighting is completely fine. And if you could go Terra Fairy for a stronger Spirit Break, just because Spirit Break is a really, like I said, a really weak move initially. But I like Agility. It's pretty easy to sweep with when you have spikes up, and it's really strong. I feel like it's a little bit more underappreciated when it comes to Iron Valiant, just because it requires setup, whereas the spec set doesn't really. Like your spec set just clicks Moonblast. So there is the the pros and cons. You have to set up, you have to waste a turn going for Agility. But with Light Screen and Reflect as well, pretty strong. And then we have Agility Special, which is just as good. And honestly, again, Life Orb or Boost Energy on this to get the special attack raise. If you end up running this set in particular, I kind of like Terra Electric as well, especially if you run it in Electric Terrain. So you get the double Terra, you get the boost, and then after that you get a boost again. So basically you would get your 1.3 point boost from that before, and Boost Energy wouldn't activate. And then when it ends, Boost Energy would activate as well. But activate after, so you'd still have your 1.3 boost, because Cork Drive goes away when the terrain is done. But when it comes to terrain, right, versus when it comes from Boost Energy. But the Terra Electric, again, strong move versus Pex, Dondozo, Annihilate, who have terraed into water, Corvi, and just the plethora of flying and water types that we have in this tier. And again, it would be boosted by Electric Terrain. So you'd want to run it with like Pincurchin or something on one of those more offensive Electric Terrain based teams. Not as strong as obviously like the Photosynthesis guys that can run with Sun, because Torkoal obviously auto sets Drought, and Torkoal can also set up Stealth Rock and Rapid Spin. Has a lot more utility than Pincurchin, even though Pincurchin does the spikes and Memento and stuff, but it's just hard to use that Pokemon versus a Torkoal in my opinion. But Again, just in a way of sweeping from the special attacking side. But that's all I have for you guys. That's basically all I have for you guys for Iron Valiant. I think there's a lot more moves this mon has that are actually really, really cool, right? Like, there's some Drain Punch stuff, but for some reason, this mon doesn't get Bulk Up, even though Gallade does, so that's really interesting. Thunder Wave can definitely be ran, and Taunt Swords Dance can definitely be run too. I've seen Calm Mind Stored Power, but I don't think that's as good. I'd rather run Calm Mind Side Shock in my opinion. Liquidation, Leaf Blade, you know, all physical attacks this Pokemon has. I've seen Thunder Wave with Hex. I've seen I've seen this Pokemon with Hex, and I saw it ran with a Toedscruel, because Toedscruel's mycelium ability, whatever it's called, allows it to spore Golden Go, and then they hexed it for a kill, which was pretty cool. So I thought that was pretty cool on a set. But that's all I have for you guys for Iron Valley. I'll be using it later today. If you guys did enjoy this, make sure you let me know. Leave a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'm on my way to 311,000 subscribers, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.